Start recording?
Yeah. In 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. And we're live.
There we go. Are we recording?
I think so. We're back for another episode of the Dudecast. I'm Nick.
I'm JD.
And here's the pre-roll. Right on. So, got another cool episode today.
I hope so.
I think so. I think it'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about what we were going to talk about, and I think it's a fun topic. Making money.
Yeah.
Obviously everybody's got a job. You got to make money somehow, but
yeah, it's all about the hustle.
It is all about the hustle, and I think probably if you're into social media or new media at all, the big name that everybody knows is Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he's so motivational and so positive and so giving of his ideas to other people. And I think it's really cool. But one of the things that he talks about is hustling.
Yeah. Making
money. Like if your 9 to 5 ain't cutting it, I think the obvious thing is go get another 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not always that simple for people because sometimes
No.
you're going to be trapped, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's mortgage payments or just like where you live, or you don't have a car, so you need to have a job that's really close,
Right.
These sorts of things. Okay, so 9 to 5 is impossible. What else?
Right.
Right?
I mean, he talks a lot about side hustle. I mean, I like Gary Vee, and I talk about Gary Vee a fair bit, I would say, on my daily.
Yep.
In fact, I think I probably ripped off the daily from the Gary Vee thing, because I think he's got the daily as well. I don't know, probably subconsciously I did that, but it's funny because I think Gary Vee, there's a couple things. I mean, what he talks about, a lot of it is very, very relevant. But I think a lot of times too that, he's a little bit out of touch with balance sometimes.
Sure, sometimes.
It's kind of my biggest criticism of Gary Vee.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't think he is very wrong in what he's saying, is that if you want to go make money, there is an infinite ways to make money.
Absolutely.
You just have to work.
Yeah.
And I think really ultimately at the end of the day, that's what he's preaching. I don't think there's anything terribly complicated about what he's preaching as well.
No.
Is that it's like you have to put in the time, you have to work. It's not necessarily easy, but you have to work. And I think a lot of, people want or live this dream of passive income.
Right.
Where it's just like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to get paid money and it's all going to be good. And I mean, that's how people, I think, get sucked into the pyramid schemes,
multi-level marketing,
the Amcos of the world, or what, if they even still exist. And
they do, and it's a huge business. It's a huge portion of the economy. Like we're talking billions.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about that is really it's only that company that's making passive income.
Right.
Selling products to people that want to make passive income.
Yeah.
But I mean,
somebody's got to do the work, right?
Yeah, that's it. I think passive income is a myth. There is no such thing as passive income. You have to work for it. Even if you get to the point where you are a magnate, a mogul, you look at your Jim Trelivings from Boston Pizza / Mr. Lube, his money that passively comes in, he pays people to manage his portfolios, to manage his companies.
I guarantee you he still works.
And he still works, guaranteed.
He's still putting in. You have to love doing the work. And guys like Gary Vee definitely love to work. But I mean, he's got some interesting stuff going on. I don't know how closely you follow him. It's interesting because he's all about the side hustle now.
Yeah.
He's talking about the side hustle. What's the side hustle?
Getting back to your 9 to 5 not cutting it, or maybe you don't even have a 9 to 5. How do you do a side hustle? Make money for you and your family, trying to do something.
So he has been huge on garage sales, believe it or not.
Yep.
Gary Vee has been going out all throughout sort of New York area and going to garage sales and buying stuff and flipping it.
Yep.
He talks about it. He talks about, he was doing the hashtag flip life.
Right.
Which, funny, I had a retweet from his early on.
Okay.
On his social media, which blew up my social media account, which was insane. It
Kinda
just
cool.
shows you how much influence a guy like that has and how much people are following him, because I use the hashtag flip life, and I just kind of mentioned him like, hey, this is what I did.
Right.
Went to Singapore doing my film. I needed some extra cash. I had some stuff laying around, so I flipped those little Funko Pops.
Oh, right. The little
plastic guys,
figures,
right? So I had 3 of those kicking around. I had no idea what they were worth.
Yep.
Talking to some people, they're like, hey, check out this. And these 3 little Funko Pops that I paid $30 for were actually worth about $1,500.
Nice.
Actually, they're worth a bit more, but I sold them for $1,500.
Right.
Used eBay, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I mean, that was just a nice injection of cash, as a side to do that, and started doing some other little flipping things as well. But the big thing that Gary Vee's into now is he calls it mug life. You have the thug life thing where the sunglasses come down. Right. Mug life, because you can go to any garage sale and you can buy a coffee mug for 25 cents, 50 cents that people are selling. A lot of times people go and they travel and they go to wherever. They go to this casino, they buy a coffee mug. They buy, an Arizona State coffee mug. They've got some coffee mug associated with, some celebrity or something along those lines. People eventually get rid of that stuff.
Sure.
Cycles through. But there's always people that still like that.
Right.
It doesn't matter. If you're an Arizona State fan, you may be done with that coffee mug here, but there are Arizona State fans that want that coffee mug. So they're buying them for 25 cents, 50 cents, selling them for about anywhere from $10 to $15 US on eBay.
Wow.
And he himself is making a few $1,000s. Gary Vee, who doesn't probably need to make that money, just to prove a point, hey guys, if you want to make, an extra, he's talking about $100,000 a year. He figures he can make $100,000 a year selling coffee mugs that he buys at garage sales.
Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, it's a great point, right? Buy low, sell high. Yeah. Something that people like, collectors. Yeah. Whether it's, people just need a mug. Sure, there's going to be that component to it as well. But like you said, Arizona State or, Terminator or whatever happens to be like a collector type mug. Maybe they had one already and it broke and now they need another one.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
But again, a lot of people, that's it on the simple level, right? You buy it for 25 cents, you sell it for 15.
Sure.
You make it money. That's easy. I don't do any work.
Yeah.
That's the misconception.
Right. It is a lot of work, actually.
It is a lot of work. You've got to drive around. You've got to go to these garage sales. You've got to find them. You've got to photograph them. You've got to list them. You've got to get those listings out there. Yeah. You've got to do all these things. That takes time. That takes money. And that takes effort.
Yeah.
And
effort's
that's
the big one.
And that's where people fail, is where the effort. You can do all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
It's how much effort you put in and how much you try to do it. I mean, it's...
I've been doing this for years, and it's funny because, again, there really is nothing new. Everything that you can possibly think to do now has already been done, already been tried. But I've been garage sailing for years.
Yeah.
Used to be like in university. I didn't put myself through university doing it, but it definitely helped. It gave me drinking money, basically is what it was. But I'd go to garage sales and I'd buy stupid stuff. Like I'd find cool mugs, or I'd find collector plates or collector whatever else. And this is back in the day when eBay only charged like $1 for the listing fee, and then that was it. They didn't take a percentage of the final sale, or maybe they did, but it was capped. But it used to be really, really good. But yeah, I'd buy and sell stuff all the time. I didn't really do it local, but it was all eBay. And then I moved into larger items because I'm a musician. I knew guitars really well. And at that time, the US dollar was like killing the Canadian dollar.
Yeah.
So I'd go to Long and McQuaid. I'd buy a guitar for like $500-600, listed on eBay for $500-600 American, which was a steal by theirs. And it was auction, so it would usually go up a little bit higher. So I'd make profit on the initial sale, buy and sell, plus profit on the exchange.
Right.
I was laughing.
Yeah. You'd probably do that now.
And you could still do it, because our dollar is very similar now.
Although I will say that the control between pricing between U.S. and Canada and international is a lot tighter than it used to be. So
and with guitars specifically, there's now all sorts of CITES treaties with importing and exportation of woods. So like fingerboards and things like that. If it's ebony or if it's rosewood, can't go across the border without a shit ton of paperwork. So it's kind of less profitable than it, because you have to pay for the application fee and for the certificate for it to go, right? So a lot more work for maybe not quite as much bang,
right?
But still totally possible.
Yeah, but you still got coffee mugs if you really...
or watches,
you
know, or used rings or whatever. What other kind of hustles you got going on, or have you seen over the years?
Me, I always kind of hustled just doing work. I mean, you know, it's I'm multifaceted. So, I mean, my business is in what I do. I mean, obviously I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, so I have those things going. Then I also have, I'm an airbrush artist. So, painted helmets for the Olympics, all those kind of things. Those are what I consider sides. They're my businesses, but they're sides as well. I kind of take on stuff as I need be. Tattooing as well. I can go, I mean, I'm retired from tattooing now, but for me, in reality, if I want to go hustle and make money, I just say, okay, I'm going to go work for 2 weeks. I'll do a guest appearance somewhere, charge $150 an hour, work 40 hours a week, and there's my side cash, right? Nice. So, I mean, for me, it's a skill-based side hustle.
I would wager everybody has some sort of skill that they could monetize like
that.
It's not just the buying and the selling and the flipping. Interestingly enough, because I have a truck, and I don't do it as much as I could or maybe should, but I actually cruise like Kijiji and Craigslist for like free throwaway crap.
Yeah.
And I'll go pick it up from people because you have to pay to take things to the dump.
Yeah.
But I'll go and pick it up and then I'll list it and sell it.
Yeah.
Stuff you can get you can't get any cheaper than free.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not picking up like used piss stained mattresses, but
no. And I mean, I'm sure there's 100 of those on Kijiji.
But like baby items,
yeah.
And I look at it as kind of like a service for maybe young families that don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
If I can find a good quality like crib or a good quality like high chair or something that somebody's giving away for free, I can grab that and I can make a little bit of money. Yeah. I'm not talking obscene. I'm talking like $10, $15.
And the irony in a lot of that is a lot of people that are looking for things to pick up for free. There's a lot of people that just throw away stuff because they just don't want to be bothered with selling it or taking the time. And really, there's a lot of money that can be made. I mean, even the garage sale is the easy out
for sure.
Because you kind of go there and people will come and they'll be like, I'll give you $1, and then same thing, you can flip it. You can throw it on Kijiji, list it for 10. You could probably have it out the door, but you have to take the time and the effort. Again, kind of hammering that home. It takes time and it takes effort.
Right.
But you can definitely make money and make it worth your while.
For sure.
In the sense, like a listing doesn't take that long.
No.
It might take you a little bit to meet people, but if you develop a system, a lot of these people
bang it out pretty quick.
It's like these guys that do storage lockers.
Yeah.
It's same thing. They're just going there. They'll buy whatever because they know they can sell it.
Yeah. There's going to be something in there worth a good buck.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of stuff that's like, here's a little bit, here's a little bit.
Yeah, but those guys, I guarantee you, it's if you watch a program like Storage Wars.
Oh yeah.
They would have TV. They would have you believe that every locker you find some magical kind of item, and that's kind of it. I mean, every once in a while somebody goes bust or whatever, but generally speaking, there's something cool in there. But really, the story in there is that, when they pull out mountains of boxes and it's like, we've got like 10,000, wooden spoons that, somebody, had a wooden spoon store or something along the lines.
Right, yeah.
Even, selling those at $1 each, they're making money.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, and they're making, a good chunk of money, and that's it. They're just kind of recycling goods. And I mean, it's a good process too, because it stops a lot of stuff from ending up in landfills.
Which is huge, environmentally friendly and all that.
Environmentally friendly,
Well, no, but I mean, again, like skills based. Like if there's nothing else, like so for me, it would be easy. I could do like guitar lessons, for example. Although that is very time intensive, but you can make good money because I can charge a premium for that skill. But even if it's just your time and your effort in terms of like, it sounds funny, but knock on your neighbor's doors, right? Like if you're really hard up for cash, who needs an ease trough cleaning? Who needs a sidewalk shoveling? Who needs, $10, $15, $20, $30, whatever, to do a little bit of manual labor goes, can go a long way. Like that'll feed you for a couple days, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Other fun side hustles. I remember back in the day, so my family's got a cottage in Northern Ontario, and part of the cottage country and kind of just across the lake, there's lots of Americans that also come and camp out and have cottages and whatever else. And the big thing, of course, during the days when it's sunny and warm, you take your boat, you go out and you swim or you water ski or whatever else. We had this place kind of around the bay. There was a big rock. Everybody would kind of go and park their boats, and you swim out to the little rock, climb up the rock, jump off the rock, and the thing, whatever else. So me and my buddies, we used to take my boat, like a little aluminum, like 12-footer, right?
Yeah.
And we'd go, and of course we weren't old enough to buy booze, but we'd buy pop, we'd buy chips, we'd buy, sandwiches and things.
Yeah.
Put them in a cooler, drive out, and we'd just pop, chips, sandwiches. You know, a pop was $2, and you know, a sandwich was $3, and you know, whatever else we had. But I mean, we made tons of money, and you could do it like day in, day out, because there was that resource that was there.
Yeah.
But it was the time, it was the effort to actually do it. But we had a great fun. And
I had a buddy that used to go when he was in high school, and he probably would have done it in university too. He used to go and drive to Little Caesars, and he'd buy those $5 pepperoni pizzas.
Oh yeah.
And then he would go back and he would sell them for $2 a slice.
Nice.
So he'd make $16 on a $5 pizza.
Yep.
So he'd make $11
to the
pure
dorm,
profit.
right?
Wherever, right? He'd just be like, you know, he'd go at lunchtime, especially in high school. Eventually, I think they shut him down. Oh, because
you said university, but yeah, I get you. High school.
Yeah, I think in high school they eventually shut him down. But he would go and he would just buy a stack of that, and then essentially he would go to the cafeteria, and then he would sell them. And it's funny because they shut him down, and I think it's kind of weird. That's kind of a weird lesson too, is that, you know, they shut him down because he was competing with the cafeteria,
right?
Which I think is kind of the wrong message. I think if you were an educator, I would say, this kid knows, he's in business, he's doing these things, we should promote that. Maybe we should make it something a little more where maybe, you know, it's a club and a portion goes to this or whatever, rather than him make straight profit or whatever the case may be. But I would want to encourage that versus, kind of saying, you can't do this.
Yeah, it would be like a teachable moment.
Yeah.
You know, in so much as not, you can't do this, but you can do this. Yeah. But here's the process that we need you to go through to do it, right?
Yeah.
You need to go through the proper channels. And a lot of that, I think, is an important lesson, especially when you're young, to kind of learn how to do things. But
and I think when he got shut down, it was a teachable moment for him. He got shut down. He didn't like it, so he moved it to the parking lot. It just, you know.
Fair? Okay.
You know, it just, it's because he had the car, he had access in. And that's what he did, and he made a good chunk of money doing that. So I mean, you know, it's kind of interesting how you can do those things. I mean, if you could do that and do that at the Calgary Stampede, do it somewhere where you could set up, you know, you would probably make a killing walking in.
Yeah,
because,
you could make a lot of money at this Calgary Stampede, but again, you know, something like that, you've got such a huge, you know, it's an economic boon to the Calgary. To the Calgary economy. It's such a huge business that they're going to crack down pretty hard on people that are doing stuff like that.
I'm not saying right on the grounds.
No, but like close to
it.
But
there is a perimeter where it won't happen. There is a perimeter where it will. But I think the spread is, you know, quite good. I mean, a lot of the food trucks in Calgary will actually get on the grounds because they can make a fortune there.
Sure.
But if you're one of those guys that don't,
you couldn't
knowing where people park.
Yep.
You know, and knowing where people walk and, you know, dropping your prices a little bit maybe in comparison to the grounds, you can obviously create an opportunity
because they charge
for yourself.
so much.
Oh, it's huge
I mean,
money.
Like, what's a lemonade? $10, $12, I think, last year.
Oh God, no. I hope not.
Maybe. Well, no, it was crazy expensive. I remember it was like 2 years ago, it was $8. Why is it? I think it was $12.
Yeah,
they were charging for, you know, like whatever, half liter, 500 mils of lemonade or whatever. But I'm like, you are aware that lemonade is like cents per glass at anywhere else, right? I'm like, what? But that's
because they put crack in theirs.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good, that fresh squeezed lemon with that sugar and everything. But yeah, the side hustle, I think, like you said, I mean, it's time, it's effort, it's realizing what resources or skills that you've got and sort of applying them in a creative way. You know, as much as, okay, it's illegal and I don't like the practice at all, but you look at scalpers.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing, right? It's hustling to make some money. It's buying something that you know people want and selling it at a profit. You know, the legality of it aside, it's the same kind of thing.
You see that a lot of that coming in, especially, you know, with new items, electronic items, you know, with like phones, for example.
Oh, yeah.
It's maybe not so much as it used to be, but, you know, things that come in and they have limited quantities and people know that a lot of people want them.
Yep.
You know, things like when the mini Nintendo came out, you know, people were going and buying them, you know.
As many as they could get their hands on.
My brother's done that in the past. He'll buy a system. He wants it, but, you know, at times it's like, you know, am I going to play this enough? And, you know, if somebody wants this enough and they're going to pay me $200, what I paid $100 for, is it worth it for me to keep it, or can I buy it later? So, I mean, there's people that do that with electronics. Tickle Me Elmo was another huge one. You know, if things blow up, that will definitely happen. You see it all the time. I think a lot of times around Christmas with children's toys, people will go and they will scout out the Walmarts and they'll buy up, you know, whatever, Hatchimals or whatever the popular thing
whatever the popular one is that year.
And just throw them out there. So, I mean, there's definitely that as well. But, I mean, obviously, you know, with electronic stuff, you're talking about, you know, bigger purchases. I mean, even with me with cameras, I know a lot of people, I picked up a Sony A7 III. I pre-ordered it. There's no stock. Like, you still can't walk into a store and buy one of these things. It's
been
crazy.
Almost a year, right? Like 8 months maybe?
It's been a while. It goes to show you how popular a camera. I was looking in Asia. They had no supply either.
Wow.
And their tax is a bit different, so they tend to be a little bit cheaper, especially in places like Malaysia.
Yep.
But if I would have probably brought it back, and I mean, it obviously would have been gray market, but there you go.
Sure, yeah.
And then there's other things too. Like, I mean, you know, since we were talking about Gary Vaynerchuk, one of his pet companies is K-Swiss.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you've got the big heavy hitters. You've got Nike. You've got, you know, Adidas. You have all these big companies, and K-Swiss is kind of like, it was never cool.
Right.
You know, I don't think I ever heard.
I thought it was like back in the 90s. I thought K-Swiss for a little while, like for the Toronto, New York set was like kind of like.
It might have been, right? Okay. But it was never kind of that dominant thing. So,
right.
I mean, Gary Vee breathed a little life into there. And one of the deals that he has with K-Swiss is that he puts out his own shoe wear.
Oh, okay.
So he has his, you know, his shoes, and he'll have, like, you know, some Gary Vee saying on the soles and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they're all that. So I picked up a set of Gary Vaynerchuk K-Swiss on Black Friday for a whopping, and you know, if the guy that bought these shoes happens to see this, you had to know it was going to happen, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So I bought them for $98 Canadian,
okay. Wow.
shipped to me.
Yep.
I sold them for $200 US.
Wow.
And they're going out as soon as I haven't even arrived. They're arriving in the next few days, and they'll be going out. So. A good flip.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, it's basically double. And I kind of did it for the funny of it.
Right.
Right? Because I thought, you know, for me, it was a social media moment. It's like, if I can flip your shoes and make a profit, Gary Vee, you know, I can tweet that at you, and hopefully you see the humor in it. Because to me, it was a humorous kind of thing, right? So.
Wow, that's funny.
But it was one of those things. It's like, do I really want to, you know, because I bought them because I'm like, you know, whatever. I don't usually buy shoes like that, but, you know, they were cheap, $98.
Sure, yeah.
It's normal price for a pair of runners. I think normally they're $150 US.
Okay.
So they were.
So yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah, it was a good deal to begin with, and then people wanted them because they're out of circulation, and this place just happened to have them, was blowing them out because obviously they didn't market them right. So,
for sure, yeah.
For whatever reason. So
yeah, there
you go, my Gary Vaynerchuk shoe flip story.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think that's awesome. You know, the other thing I'm curious about, and I hear. I've even thought about this myself sometimes, and I'm like, you know, like the flip economy or the mug life or you know, that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, you know, in Canada we can't really do it because we don't have the same amount of people. Like, you can't go to as many garage sales, and you can't go to as many pawn shops and get as much cool stuff. Do you think that's an actual valid argument? I mean, obviously you've just proved it's not.
No, I think if you know. As long as you know which space you're occupying. I mean, you know, you have those. I can't remember the name of the show, but they're from Calgary. The cowboy guys. They go out.
Oh yeah, Canadian Pickers.
Canadian Pickers.
Yep.
They've made their living doing that.
Yep.
There's definitely, if you know what you're looking for, and you know, I think that these guys are a bit different than, let's say, the, you know, storage war kind of guys. They're going out. They know what they have. They know who comes to them, and they know what they want.
Yeah.
Right. And they know what they'll pay.
Right.
So already they're ahead of the game.
You know,
so
your
they're
market,
going out,
you know your buyer.
Yeah. So they're going out. It's like, hey, I want to buy those old oil filter canisters because guys buy them. Right.
Yep.
I'll
for
buy
whatever
them.
reason.
Yeah. And they buy them and they flip them. And I mean, you know, the signage and all those kind of things, you know, they know their market. It's knowing your market, right? And it's knowing, you know what's good to buy and what's, you know, it's like, and it's a good time to get in or out. As well, right? Especially if we're talking about collectibles for a minute. And I mean, I do a lot of collectible stuff. I mean, you guys can't see it on the camera here, but I've got skateboards all over the walls. I've got, you know, all sorts of, you know, figures and Star Wars helmets and all sorts of crap that I've accumulated over the years. You know, mainly because I'm an artist and I like to be inspired by other great artwork, and I consider it all, even though consumables artwork. But at the end of the day is knowing what's good to be into and what to flip, right? I mean, Beanie Babies is a good example of stuff that were worth millions and millions of dollars at one point, and now are probably, I don't think anybody pays for them. There'll be people, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
I want to get a bunch of Beanie Baby hate, but compared to what they used to be,
the market's just not there anymore.
Market's not there. And I mean, my example of the Funko Pops earlier with the breakfast cereal guys is that you got to pick the right time. Sometimes it's lucky,
Right.
With the breakfast cereal guys, I'll admit that was lucky because Funko in the last couple weeks just re-released those figurines.
Oh.
So like anything, when it's plastic and it's made of a mold, and they put so many out, and it's that they are also monitoring those things and going, this is popular still.
Right.
And we can put those out,
so they did
and we'll
a
sell them. So they did a re-release. So the value of those original ones. Okay, maybe they'll be worth a little bit less. They might go higher. Some people were saying, "Why didn't you stick around?" And I'm like, I don't want to. To me, at $10, they're great. I like them in my office. It's great.
Yeah.
If they're worth $50 each, I probably would have kept them.
Yeah.
But at $1,500, there's no way.
There's no
sticking
way,
around. It's just not worth that to me.
Well, and the cool thing I think,
but they're worth that to somebody.
So, well, that's it, right? Anything, it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be worth what somebody's willing to pay. Yeah. And I think even if let's say, so for the laziest amongst us, right? If you don't have the time and effort to actually go out to yard sales, to go to pawn shops, to go to
go through your own stuff.
Go through your own stuff. This is what my point. I bet you at your home right now, if you were to go through your junk closet, your kitchen, your basement, people are going to find a couple $100 worth of stuff that they didn't even know that they had anymore that they could sell.
Yeah.
For a couple $100 or maybe $1,000 or more or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that process of you figuring out your market, figure out your audience. If you think that there's something there, it takes no effort to just, look, I've got this thing lying around that I'm not using anymore.
Yeah.
List it, boom, done. And it's so easy, of course, now with like Facebook Marketplace was really cool.
Yeah.
Kijiji has a great app. You can take photos and list right on your phone. There was another one. Do you remember? I think it was called like Flip Me or Flip It or something like that. There's been a couple of them over the years that have tried to like take over the Kijiji space or like the Craigslist space.
Yeah.
But it's so easy now.
Oh, it's completely easy. I mean, I know you quit Facebook. We talked about in the first episode, but I mean, even then they have a marketplace built in.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's take a photograph, list it. If somebody shows up, great.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, and it's funny, too, because I've been bugging my wife. She's got all this old photography equipment that she inherited from her uncle a couple of years ago. Yeah. And, like, it's good quality stuff, like, from the late 70s, early 80s. So it's vintage 35mm film camera and lenses equipment, and she's got, like, I did a price list for her. I think it's about $3,000 worth of like antiquities, antique type film equipment, but people are willing to buy it.
Yep.
And I've been bugging her like, hey, get that listed.
People will still use it,
and people will still. Well, that's it. It's in working condition. It's not like it's garbage.
Yeah.
So there's that dual thing. It's like people that want to use film camera, and then people that want to collect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna list that stuff on eBay.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, it is that simple. I mean, and you don't have to necessarily go out and do garage sales. I mean, if you have family and friends and they're doing a spring cleaning or whatever and they're throwing out a bunch of stuff, it's like, okay, I'll just take that box.
And
there's nothing wrong with going through that. If they were going to throw it out anyways and go through and find some stuff, absolutely, do that. Another interesting story, I have a friend that does garage sales as well.
Right.
And he knows I like skateboards. And he was going around and he found a skateboard. He got it for me. He paid, I think it was $1 for it.
Nice.
He gave it to me. I actually gave it back to him because when he gave it to me, he's like, here, this is for you, man. I'm like, I appreciate this. Like, I saw what it was. I'm like, I appreciate that, but I can't take this from you.
Right.
I said, what did you pay for it? He's like, I paid $1. I said, that person obviously didn't know what it's worth. You obviously don't know what it's worth. I said, but that skate itself, because it was an old Hobie sidewalk surfer, is worth about $1,000.
Wow, really?
So I'm just like, you know what? I can't, in good faith, take this from you. Like, I appreciate it. Like, I would just turn around and do that. So this is what it's worth, and this, and he's nice enough. He's like, if I sell it, he's still got it, right?
Right.
I think he kind of keeps it now because now it's cool because it's worth something. And
right.
That's the other thing is a lot of people, sometimes get stuck in that trap. It's worth something. It's going to be worth more,
Right.
Like I said, if you pay $1 and it's worth $1,000, it's time to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It might be worth $10,000 in 20 years, but in reality, like
but it might not.
It might not be, right?
Yeah.
Again,
and you're talking about the garage sales, friends, family. Auntie Mildred might even be willing to give you a 10 or 20 or a 50 to help clean her out of her act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you get the bonus of helping her clean out her stuff, and then turning around and selling some of the good stuff. Sure, you probably got to make a run to the dump or whatever because there's going to be a bunch of crap, but why not?
And you'd probably be an awesome dude and buy Aunt Mildred, dinner and stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Everybody wins.
Yeah, it's all. There's always something.
Or you could start a podcast and take over the world.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
But that's all we have time for this week.
That is all the time for today. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, this has been another episode of the Dudecast. I've been Nick.
And I'm JD.
And we'll see you again soon.
All right. See ya.